Hello friends, I welcome you all to today's lecture on maintenance to women under Muslim law. The basic aim of this lecture is to study the Islamic law on maintenance, maintenance to wife, widow and divorcee, maintenance under Criminal Procedure Code 1973, maintenance under the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. Nafaka means maintenance or provision for support. According to Hidayah, nafaka includes all those things which are necessary to the support of life, such as food, clothes and lodging. The social role assigned to man and woman by Islam within the family emanate from one simple but profound reality that the two are equal but of dissimilar nature, and the social harmony demands no similar role from both. In the sphere of rights and obligations, Islam maintains a balance. It is not like a pro-male or pro-female law. In short, it is pro-human and balanced. Hence, if the husband fails to provide adequate maintenance provision for wife, she can lawfully refuse to live with the husband. Similarly, if the wife refuses or fails to live with the husband, the latter is no longer bound to support her. Maintenance to wife. The husband has to maintain his wife during the subsistence of marriage and during the period of wife's iddat. It makes no difference whether the wife is a Muslimah or Kitabiya, rich or poor, young or old, virgin or otherwise. If the husband is a minor, then maintenance shall be realized from his property if he has any, or from his father if he has undertaken the liability for the payment of same. It is the absolute right of the wife that the husband should maintain her even when he is destitute while she is earning. If a wife leaves her husband's home against his wishes, a refractory wife, an unchaste wife, and also a wife who apostatizes loses her right to maintenance. A wife shall not become entitled to maintenance when it is the conduct of the husband that forces her to leave him and live apart from him. Again, if a husband has more than one wife, each of them can claim a separate apartment and refuse to live with another wife. Under such circumstances, she can claim separate maintenance and also the dissolution of marriage if the husband fails to provide it for her. Under Islamic law, a widow is an heir to the husband and succeeds to a part of his estate. Besides, Quranic directive is to the effect of 1 year maintenance for her under an obligatory bequest of the husband. Consequences of non-maintenance. If she fails to get maintenance, the Qazi can authorize her to raise a loan on the husband's credit for her support. The wife can also use such portion of her husband's property as may be necessary, even without an order by the Qazi. Where maintenance has been decreed by the Qazi or husband has agreed to that, the wife can claim arrears of maintenance. But the arrears of maintenance can also be claimed even without Qazi's order. The wife can release the husband from payment of past arrears but not from future obligation. The release for the future shall be effective for only the next 1 month. Divorcee's maintenance. For the period of iddat, wife is entitled to use husband's board and lodging and claim maintenance from him. In Islam, wife inherits property from her relatives and also can own her own separate property. She can, after marriage dissolution, maintain herself out of that property and also claim it from her parents or those relatives who can inherit her property or could have inherited her property when she has no property. A divorcee will be entitled to maintenance during iddat period in certain situations. The wife has sought separation on just grounds. The third person has become the cause of separation. The husband has become apostate. The wife got marriage dissolved because of the husband's impotency. The minor wife repudiated marriage by exercise of option of puberty. The marriage was dissolved on the ground of option of gair kofu, that is inequality. The marriage was dissolved through khul. The cases enumerated by the Fatwa-e-Alamgiri in which maintenance is not payable to the divorced woman are: the marriage has been dissolved because of the wife's defects. The wife was divorced because of her refractoriness. The apostate wife, even if having returned to faith during iddat, when the right of wife to maintenance had already got suspended during marriage for some cause. The period of iddat will be counted from the moment the wife has been divorced. It will continue during the time 3 regular consecutive menstruation periods of the divorced woman are over. In case of a pregnant woman, it will continue up to delivery of the child or till the termination of pregnancy. Where a wife has been divorced in her absence, she would be entitled to maintenance until she becomes aware of the divorce and for 3 months after the information reaches her. Maintenance of wives under Criminal Procedure Code. Under sections 125 to 128 of Criminal Procedure Code 1973, an order of maintenance can therefore be passed in favor of a wife if the wife is unable to maintain herself, the husband has sufficient means, the husband has neglected or refused to maintain her, the wife had not refused to live with the husband except for sufficient cause, the husband having contracted a second marriage or keeping a mistress and the wife refusing to live with him, the wife not living in adultery, the husband and wife not living separately by mutual consent, the wife has not remarried after the dissolution of marriage. Under Islamic law, it may be noted again, a wife is entitled to maintenance irrespective of her financial position. A Muslim who has sufficient means of her own to support herself can therefore not claim maintenance under the provisions of the new code, but she can agitate her claim under Muslim law in a civil court. Under the code, even a divorced woman is entitled to claim maintenance from her husband. A plain reading of Clause B, subsection 3 of Section 127 of Criminal Procedure Code shows that if the husband has paid off either before or after the date of order under Section 125 the sum which is already payable by the husband to the wife under any customary or personal law of the parties, the magistrate, if satisfied about it, shall cancel the order passed by him. However, this provision has been subject of conflicting interpretations. The Supreme Court for the first time was faced with the question of the construction of Clause B, subsection 3 of Section 127 in Bai Tahira versus Ali Hussain. In this case, the husband, Ali Hussain, divorced his wife in 1962. A compromise was made in respect of properties and the amount payable to her by way of meher and iddat money. A clause in the compromise deed provided, I quote, "The plaintiff declares that she has now no claim or right whatever against the defendant or against the estate or properties of the defendant," unquote. But after coming into force of the Code 1973, she claimed maintenance under Section 125. Justice Krishna Iyer made certain observations. Payment of meher money as customary discharge is within the cognizance of provision of Clause B, subsection 3 of Section 127. The key thought is adequacy of payment, which will take reasonable care of her maintenance. The payment of illusory amounts by way of customary or personal law requirement will be considered in the reduction of maintenance rate, but cannot annihilate that role unless it is reasonable substitute. The whole scheme of Section 127 is manifestly to recognize the substitute maintenance arrangement by lump sum payment organized by the custom of the community or the personal law of the parties. There must be a relation between the sum to be so paid and its potential as provision for maintenance. To interpret otherwise is to stultify the project. The proposition, therefore, is that no husband can claim under Section 125 towards a divorced wife except on proof of payment of a sum stipulated by customary or personal law whose quantum is more or less sufficient to do duty for maintenance allowance. In Ashok Chandra versus Mayam Madhvi and others, some significant issues came for consideration. Number 1. Whether the provision of Section 125 are inconsistent with the provisions of the Shariat Act 1937. Number 2. Whether Shariat Act 1937, being a special law, should prevail over the general provisions of the new code. It was held, I quote, "The Muslim Personal Law Shariat Act 1937 does not lay down any special rules, but merely lays down certain norms or rules as regards applicability of Muslim personal law to Muslims." Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code has granted an additional rights to a divorced Muslim woman for receiving maintenance allowance even beyond the period of iddat. The additional benefit or right does not conflict with the right which is already conferred upon her under Muslim personal law. In these circumstances, the Shariat Act or any other personal law cannot control the said right, nor the provisions of the said act can be imported into Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code for defeating the right conferred by Section 125. Unquote. In Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shah Bano Begum, explaining the scope of the provisions of Section 125, the Constitution Bench of 5 judges observed, I quote, "We are not concerned here with the broad and general question whether a husband is liable to maintain wife, which includes a divorced wife. In all circumstances and at all the events, that is not the subject matter of Section 125. That section deals with cases in which a person who is possessed of sufficient means neglects or refuses to maintain, amongst others, his wife unable to maintain herself. Since the Muslim personal law, which limits the husband's liability to provide for the maintenance of divorced wife to the period of iddat, does not countenance the situation envisaged by Section 125, it would be wrong to hold that the Muslim husband, according to his personal law, is not under an obligation to provide maintenance beyond the period of iddat to his divorced wife who is unable to maintain herself." Unquote. The main objections raised against the approach of Supreme Court were based on certain grounds. Number first, the Islamically unqualified persons could not take up the task of interpreting the Quran into their own hands. Number second, the judges have misinterpreted the Quranic provisions against the spirit of Islamic concept of marriage. Number third, even if there is some need for gearing up the Islamic law to meet the present day circumstances, it could be accomplished through ijtihad by the Muslim community itself. The Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. No sooner the Supreme Court pronounced the decision in Shah Banu case, there came the demand from the Muslim community to undo the effect of the same. The Government of India, soon realizing the gravity of the situation, introduced a bill in the Parliament to make a separate law for the protection of Sharia, which ultimately led to the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. The provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code relating to maintenance of women whose marriage is subsisting, children and parents continue to apply to Muslims even after the enforcement of the present act. The deserted wives, children and parents can still take the benefit of the provisions of sections 125 to 128 of the Criminal Procedure Code that provide a speedier remedy for the problems of non-maintenance. The application of the Act 1986 is therefore limited only to the matters regarding rights of Muslim women on divorce. The Act, pursuant to this definition, applies only to women married according to Muslim law and not to those Muslim women married according to any other law like Special Marriage Act 1954. Similarly, the Act 1986 applies only to those Muslim women whose marriage has been dissolved in accordance with the Muslim law. Section 3 of the Act 1986 provides that on divorce a woman shall be entitled to a reasonable and fair provision and maintenance to be made and paid to her within the iddat period by her former husband, where she herself maintains the children born to her before or after her divorce. A reasonable and fair provision and maintenance to be made and paid by her former husband for a period of 2 years from the respective date of birth of such children. An amount equal to the sum of meher or dower agreed to be paid to her at the time of her marriage or at any time thereafter according to Muslim law, and all the properties given to her before or at the time of marriage or after her marriage by her relatives or friends or husband or any relative of the husband or his friends. Section 5 of the Act provides that if a divorced woman and her husband declare by affidavit or by any declaration in writing, either jointly or separately, that instead of the Muslim Women Act 1986, they would prefer to be governed by the provisions of the sections 125 to 128 of Criminal Procedure Code, same provision shall be applied to them. Dania Latifi versus Union of India. In this case, a writ petition under Article 32 was made challenging the constitutional validity of the Act 1986. The petitioner's contention was that by making Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code inapplicable to the Muslim women, discriminates against them. The argument was that Section 125 of Criminal Procedure Code gave protection to all women irrespective of their religion. Then came the Act of 1986 with the inevitable effect to nullify the law declared by the Supreme Court in Shah Banu. In conclusion, it was held, a Muslim husband is liable to make reasonable and fair provision for the future of the divorced wife, which obviously includes her maintenance as well, extending beyond the iddat period, and must be made by him within the iddat period in terms of Clause A, subsection 1st of Section 3 of the Act. His liability under Section 3 to pay maintenance is not confined to iddat period. A divorced Muslim woman not remarried and unable to maintain herself after iddat period can proceed under Section 4 against her relatives who are liable to maintain her in proportion to the properties which they would inherit from her. If none of them is liable to maintain her, the magistrate may direct the State Waqf Board to pay. The provisions of the Act do not offend Articles 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution. In Shabana Bano versus Imran Khan, appellant Shabana Bano filed a petition under Section 125 of Criminal Procedure Code. Preliminary objections were raised by the respondent that appellant has already been divorced on 20th of August 2004 in accordance with the Muslim law. Thus, under the provisions of Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986, appellant is not entitled to any maintenance after divorce and after the expiry of the iddat period. The Supreme Court observed, I quote, "We respectfully abide by what has been stated therein. We have carefully analyzed the same and come to the conclusion that the Act actually and in reality codifies what was stated in Shah Banu's case. Cumulative reading of the relevant portions of judgments of this court in Dania Latifi and Iqbal Bano would make it crystal clear that even a divorced Muslim woman would be entitled to claim maintenance from her divorced husband as long as she does not remarry, thus being a beneficial piece of legislation. The benefit thereof must accrue to the divorced Muslim woman." Unquote. Further, it was said that even if a Muslim woman has been divorced, she would be entitled to claim maintenance from her husband under Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code after the expiry of period of iddat also, as long as she does not remarry. While concluding this lecture, it may be said that nafaka means maintenance or provision for support and includes all those things which are necessary to the support of life. The husband has to maintain his wife during the subsistence of marriage and during the period of wife's iddat. If a wife leaves her husband's home against his wishes, a refractory wife, an unchaste wife, and also a wife who apostatizes, loses her right to maintenance. Under Islamic law, a widow is an heir to the husband and succeeds to a part of his estate. Besides, Quranic directive is to the effect of 1 year maintenance for her under an obligatory bequest of the husband. For the period of iddat, divorcee is entitled to use husband's board and lodging and claim maintenance from him. With this, I conclude this lecture. Hope you understood fully. Thank you.